Alice Springs came alive with Aboriginal business leaders from across Australia converging on the Alice Convention Centre for the 10th Aboriginal Economic Development Forum. This forum is an opportunity for all forms of Indigenous business operators to meet, share and discuss business opportunities. This year's focus was on encouraging the sharing of knowledge, experiences and connecting and strengthening relationships between Aboriginal entrepreneurs, private sector, industry, government and non-government organisations, and continue to build on previous Aboriginal economic development forums.
Okay, we're going to kick off the festivities. Thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Naomi Anstis and I'm representing the Northern Territory Indigenous Business Network, and I'm really pleased to see so many people here out in the desert putting their feet in the earth to start this Aboriginal Economic Development Forum for the 10th time and for the very first time in black hands.
I welcome you to Central Aranda Country, which I'm a part of. And this area here is actually Andulia. And you go into town, that's Imbanda, and over north side is Hiltma. I never realised there's so many people here tonight, but we have my family's dancing.
It is so fitting to be welcomed by the amazing Aranda traditional owners to Mumbachua, the traditional name for Alice Springs. And what an amazing sunset while we watch those dancers, young and old, coming together, sharing thousands of years of history, language and culture. So it is really fantastic to have an event such as this back in the hands of Central Australia, which connects us all, regardless of what part of the country we come from, to be able to share in the ideas, the strengths, the challenges, but also the innovation of business. And it's not something new for Aboriginal people. This is not something new for us, for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. We have been involved in economic development for thousands of years. The trades that we have done, international trading, that was done years and years before colonisation of Australia. But the one thing that always comes through, and it comes through strongly, is hope and aspiration. When we truly reflect the representation of our people in everything we do, in education, in health, in housing, in politics and in business, we will see true equity.
We, the traditional owners, welcome you on our beautiful land, Turija and Bandua, Alice Springs. We hopefully that you respect our wishes, our culture and our heritage. When you walk out, you sweat. Throw it into the wind. It acknowledges our ancestors and it gives you safe passage so they can look after you and give you a nice sense of feeling of belonging. And remember, this is a lovely place to be and we're all here on your side. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane, for your welcome to country there. I'd now like to introduce up on the stage Jerome Cabillo and Naomi from NTIBN.
Thank you, Kamahi. My name is Jerome Cabillo. I'm the CEO of the Northern Territory Indigenous Business Network, NTIBN. For us, it's about now owning our story, owning our journey, owning our narrative to our own economic independence and rise, which is so important. Aboriginal people taking control of our own destiny, being self-determined and doing things different, doing things our way, being unapologetic, being black, taking those lived experiences, those cultural experiences that we are taught, and putting it into business.
For a Commonwealth Ministerial Address, the Honourable Ken Wyatt, can you please make your way up on stage? Minister for Indigenous Australians.
Hi, you can hear me clearly?
Yep, he's up there.
So I am up on stage, even though it's in digital form. Good morning. I'm delighted to open day 2 of the 10th Aboriginal Economic Development Forum. Before I proceed, I'd like to acknowledge that this forum is being held on Arrernte land, and I'm joining you from Ngunnawal country, and I acknowledge all traditional owners, past, present and emerging. At the Barunga Festival earlier this year, I announced reforms to the NT Aboriginal Land Rights Act based on principles developed in partnership with the 4 land councils. On August the 1st, I was proud to introduce the enabling legislation into the House of Representatives. The reforms have been co-designed with the land councils and are aimed at ensuring Aboriginal people have greater control of land management. The centrepiece will be the establishment of a new Aboriginal corporation. The NT Aboriginal Investment Corporation will have a diverse board with a range of cultural, land and financial expertise. We'll have new powers to make strategic investments for the benefit of Indigenous Australians living in the Northern Territory, deliver loans and provide guarantees to Indigenous organisations in the Northern Territory. The corporation will start with a financial strength, receiving an initial $500 million endowment from the ABA and then $60 million per year for the first 3 years of its operation. To all of you who are striving to create Indigenous economic empowerment, I thank you and commend you for your dedication to this worthy outcome. Enjoy the forum, enjoy the friendships, enjoy the conversations. Thank you.
My portfolio responsibilities acknowledge the need to strengthen our Aboriginal economy. As the Minister for the Central Australian Economic Reconstruction and Remote Housing, Homelands and Town Camps, I understand the need to shine a light on the opportunities that exist down this part of the Northern Territory. I'm often criticised for giving contracts to Aboriginal business enterprises because of the negative impacts that puts on other people in the Territory. I don't apologise for that. We have spoken too long about the need to empower Aboriginal businesses across the Territory to have their stake in the economy. And that is the work that we have to do. And the Territory has an amazing story to tell when it comes to empowering Aboriginal business enterprises, leading the way in the reform work across housing. It's often said that Aboriginal Territorians are land rich and dirt poor. Around 98% of the Territory's land is not freehold, with Aboriginal interests embedded in every bit of it. How we support our mob to become dirt rich with their land holdings to generate wealth for Aboriginal Territorians is a challenge. But we are here with you. We are in that journey with you to unlock the economic potential. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
I'd like to now welcome up to the stage Kumali, traditional owner, to say a few words.
Yeah, good morning everyone. Wada. Welcome again. I'm here to welcome you again to our country. Business China, my business Tingabi. It's Aranda, Eastern and Aranda cross-cultural awareness and I'm a sole trader. I've had tourists come and ask me, oh, where are the Aboriginal people? And it was grand final time. And I said, oh, didn't you see anybody? You see that oval over there? Go over there, they're all there. They went, they never got out. They enjoyed it. They came back and gave me their, oh, it's good to see Aboriginal people sports-minded. Oh, we've been sports-minded ever since time began. And our people are very talented people in the footy field as well. But we still need to come back to our next generation of children, next generations, like the dances I had last night. That was part of my, that I instigated because I could see my families not being together, losing their touch. Our people were proud people. They were strong. They were warriors. They were leaders. That's what we're trying to create through these kids that run amok in town. We want to create programs, build up leadership roles for the kids. Our kids are the main focus for us. And also, I'd like to, and I don't see, for our people, to strengthen the unity of our people. Thank you.
Deep in northeast Arnhem Land, from sacred red earth to the skies above. The countdown is on at NASA's first commercial launch pad outside of the United States. A small step for the world's largest space agency, a big leap for the local region after the recent windback of its major employer, a bauxite mine. Years in the making, the project was delayed by coronavirus, but is firing ahead with almost 30 international NASA personnel now at work in the region. The base's location near the equator makes it an optimum launch site.
What that gives you is extra rotational velocity. It means it throws your rocket off more quickly, you need less fuel.
And unlike several major projects across the top end, this one is being guided by and employing Indigenous hands.
What we see here is just the beginning to a new beginning.
Once the initial liftoff is achieved, the centre could send up to 100 rockets into space each year, with hope benefits continue flowing to those on the ground below.
So I think that just talks to thinking big in the Northern Territory of what you can achieve in regards to not only an investment on Gulmarch land out in East Arnhem, but they've done all the civil work there and they've actually invested into the private company as well. And I think that's a really good example of what we can achieve working together in the Territory. Just to finish on, in Central Australia, Minister Paik talked about economic reconstruction committees. So we have them across each region. They're led by business and industry, and they're a mechanism to provide feedback around what are the priorities in the region to grow the economy.
The arts and creative industries here in Australia are integral to contemporary Australian values, self-expression, engagement with the rest of the world. Creativity is key to innovation, driving sustainability and prosperity. These are some examples of what we talk about when we talk about the creative industries. So festivals, literature publishing, advertising, architecture, museums, performing arts, fashion, music, visual arts and craft, digital arts, libraries and archives. The creative sector makes a major contribution to the Australian economy, employing approximately 200,000 Australians and directly contributing $14.7 billion to gross domestic product.
That's Banu Banu, really. We've got 4 varieties of turtles on the island, and this is just our little area. I just thought I'd show you that to give you a sort of a snapshot of the island. Aboriginal tourism in the Northern Territory, I think we're at a turning point, and it's a point where we need to start actually just standing up and having our own voice. And I can honestly say that, like I've been a part of the Aboriginal tourism advisory committee to the government, and that's been great, but there's only so much that we can give before you can actually start having more conversations to the discussion. The greater majority of the land is 50% owned by Aboriginal people, and we also have got 84% of the coastline of the Northern Territory. And this is just so important to where we're placed with tourism and what we can absolutely unlock here from our perspective. From a tourism sector perspective. One of the things I've done is just done a quick snapshot reflection of the last 10 years and of my experience in tourism, we've come to a standstill. So back in 2010, we actually had Aboriginal tourism support officers, and that was a fantastic support, because that's actually how Banu Banu kicked off as well. I had someone I could pick up the phone and absolutely talk. It was almost like a business mentor. Just from that past 10 years, 11 years, now's the time for the Northern Territory Aboriginal tourism operators to have an independent voice away from government, but also to work in collaboration with government so that we can both leverage off this tourism strategy plan. And that's what the conversation really is about today. Those Aboriginal tourism advisory groups, man, we had the best team in the Northern Territory. We had the experts, and they were absolutely people that had skin in the game. So this strategy really did come from, from the heart, and people that knew what they were talking about. And I'll just quickly too, I'm going to just mention this quickly, I'm going to give this a plug. Just this year, one of the things I've always banged on about was camping with custodians, and Stuart Ord took up a group of traditional owners up to Western Australia, and the way COVID's going and with how many camper van sites have we got around in the Territory, this is an Aboriginal opportunity here, right here. Contact him if you've got country and you want to have something similar and want to learn about the program, because I tell you, this is a no-brainer. Easy. But thank you very much.